Well, yeah, when I lost my leg, like I was very fortunate, my parents taught me they never treated me special at all. I think the doctor told them something like, just treat him like your normal child, because they wondered, what the hell are we going to do? Our son with his leg cut off, well, cut 2 legs off, but they've saved one foot, you see. And so Mum and Dad asked for advice, and so Mum and Dad just treated me like normal. I got into more trouble. I got more hidings than my brothers put together because I kept pushing the boundaries, you know. The neighbourhood lady would go down and play with our friends, and someone else's mother would come out and say, "You kids want a drink and biscuit, come and get it. Tom, here's yours." You know, that sort of spoiled stuff, and you don't know what's going on. And so I was spoiled a lot like that as a kid, I'm sure, but parents kept me pretty grounded really by not treating me special. They never treated me special, so that was good. At sports at school, I was a keen rugby player. I played rugby. I played cricket until a cricket ball broke my artificial leg in half one day, and they wouldn't let me play cricket anymore. So I played rugby, and I played in the first 15 at Tauranga Intermediate School. And when I got to college though, I saved up and bought a brand new pair of boots and go to college with and play rugby, but I only played a couple of games because the kids wouldn't tackle me. They were scared of getting hurt. So the teacher asked me not to stop playing rugby, which I should have said no, but I carried on. And I saw hockey. I got my good boots, so I'll play hockey. Well, I got into the hockey, the Bay of Plenty Select group, you know, like they get a whole lot together, and you know, I got into that sort of thing, but I was bored with hockey. It didn't do it to me, so I only played a few games, a couple of games, and left. But I used to love rugby, and when it came to the school steeplechase, the whole Tauranga Boys Highway, they all said, "You've all got to run in the steeplechase unless you've got a doctor's certificate, you know, saying you can't do it. Sharplin, you don't have to run." I said, "But I'm going to run." "No, you're not." "Why not?" "Well, you'll be off school with the sore leg for a week," you know. Sort of, well, that's an invitation. So I run in the race, and then about 350 kids, and we run about 3.5 miles or something, and I come in 109th or something, around about there, quite up, and I was off school for a week too, with the leg, I'd skinned all my stump and but beat all my mates home. And many years later, and I forget exactly where it was, we saw this bit of footage that someone had filmed on an old camera, and sure enough, they clapped everyone when they came in, but when I came in, I got the biggest clap of the lot. Everyone went crazy because I'd done it, you know. And at the beginning of the race, before we left the school grounds, I just hopped in the middle of everybody so they couldn't see me. But then before I got even off the school grounds, one of the support straps that took the weight of the leg broke, so I was holding on to it by one hand. But you know, that was all fun. It was more fun than winning a race any day. And so for many years I used to do a lot of running, you know, jogging and things like that. But you know, eventually I realised, you know, well, it's not the wisest thing. I eventually wore out my good ankle. I got my first taste of music from a competition. I was an artist, and I'd done very well in high school with art. And I drew a picture of it. The Kinks were coming to play in Hamilton, the Kinks, Manfred Mann and the Honeycombs. And I thought, wow. So I drew this picture of a kink, and it was really just a cartoon, a lot of hair and a couple of beetle boots at the bottom and a nose and a couple of eyes, and that was a kink. And I won the competition, won to go across to Hamilton, Founders Theatre, and saw this live show. It was just fantastic. I was 14, and just blew me away. You know, the Manfred Man, the Kinks were up there with their frills, and oh, amazing it was. Purple velvet jackets, and Manfred Man, of course, Paul Jones. He was a big fan of Paul Jones. And the opening band was called the Mersey Men, an Auckland band, and Ian Saxon used to sing with the Mersey Men, although I never knew that for many years. But they had a guest vocalist for the show, and the guest vocalist was Tommy Adderley. Well, when he came on stage with his patent leather shoes and silver suit, I thought, that's my joy, this is what I want to do. And so yeah, that started my interest. And then so we got together with a schoolmate and put a group together, and we had a couple of rehearsals. We didn't have microphone, was sort of taped up to a broom on a chair, and 2 guitars plugged into 1 amp. It was pretty. We were called 5 to Go, and there was Go Home on the bus. 5 to Go Home. But yeah, and then I auditioned for a band in Tauranga, and I went along, and the band was called the Arms and Legs. So I went out and auditioned, and I was sitting in the hall, and a couple of people had got up and sung some songs with the band. And I got up and sang, I think it was Get Off My Cloud, and while I was singing it, I looked around at the band and they were all smiling and happy, you know, and I thought, wow, I might have this gig, I thought. And then they asked me to do another song, so I did another Rolling Stones song, I think it was, and they said, yep, job's yours. And so I worked with them for about 7 or 8 months, maybe a year, but we established ourselves as one of the top groups in the Bay Plenty Rotorua area at the time. And then I came to Auckland to go to art school. I used to hitchhike down to town on the weekends, do the gigs, and back to art school. And in Auckland, there was no gigs in Auckland during the week. The only gig that there really was Arthur Skelling's orchestra played Monday night at the Orange Ballroom. So I auditioned for him and got a job. And that's why I got the job after. I auditioned for it first, but someone else, the guy that was singing, stayed on, so I got a job at Surfside. And I sang there for about 6 months. And from then I went on to the Orange as well, because Surfside was Saturday. And it was while I was at Surfside that I recorded Love Is a Beautiful Song. The song was given to me by a friend. He sort of sung it to me, and he had heard Brian Williams had sung it to him. Brian had heard it in South Africa on tour with the All Blacks, and so it got passed down to me, and I thought, yeah, and it would #1 in South Africa. I thought, well, that's a good punt. I went to Pie Records, but they weren't interested. That song will never be a hit, sort of thing. So I thought I'd do it myself. So I did. I hired the musicians. I hired Tony Baker in the orchestra, and he hired Bruce King and Spike and got all these sort of guys to play on it. And it was a waltz. Love Is a Beautiful Song. Well, not rock and roll, but it was just, you know, and it did very well for me. I didn't have the money to pay, but by the time bills, the accounts came in, I sort of paid them off and everything. And I was working in advertising at the time during the day. I did a lot of advertising on the buses, and I put signs in, Love Is a Beautiful Song, hit song by Tom Sharplin. And I had an agreement with my manager to put in a couple of hundred of these in the buses in Auckland, but I printed a couple of thousand. And instead of paying someone else to put them up inside all the buses, I volunteered to do that myself, so I could put every bus had 2 or 3 of my ads in, you know, and then rather than taking them down the week later when your contract for the finish, I just left them. They stayed up there for ages. But the song gained some momentum, gained a lot of momentum, and we were getting a lot of play on Radio ZB at the time, which everyone listened to. Merv Smith played it nearly every morning. And so it took off, and it got to #1 in parts of the country. And then EMI released the overseas version, and so we double credited it in the charts, went up to #2 nationally, I think. But I was #1 in the Bay of Plenty and a few other places. But that got me into the game, and then that got me some jobs with supporting Johnny Devlin. And when he came back to New Zealand, formed Johnny Devlin Enterprises, and I did a lot of touring, and that sort of got me better and better and got more into it. Went from there, really. That's how I sort of started and got into the game. And then one night I was doing my show, and it wasn't rock and roll. It had a couple of rock and roll-ish sort of songs, but things like Baby, Baby, Don't Get Hooked on Me, and songs like that. And Kipper Royal, a musician called Kipper Royal, was playing in the band backing me in Hastings one time, and he said, do you know any rock and roll songs? And I said, yeah, I know a couple. And he said, well, come around tomorrow, you're doing nothing, come around during the day and in the hotel room, and we'll learn some songs, teach you some. So we put together about 4 rock and roll songs, and so did them with the band that night, and it just went bang. Everyone loved it, and I did too. It was just great. So I learned some more songs the next day and just stayed with rock and roll because it was the music I really dug, and it suited me, and there was room for it in the business. So I thought, oh, that's sort of how I got into it, really. Money, gee, it was hard to survive in those days, and originally I was doing commercial art, and I went from 5 days a week down to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so I had weekends free to travel and sing. And to get $150 a week was damn good money. It was really good money. I mean, my art job was paying the most of any of the artists that left art school got jobs, commercial art or anything like that. We got $22 a week. Me and 2 others, all the rest got 18 or 20, you know. Anyway, it wasn't a lot to survive on, and I got married and had kids, so I had to keep working. And I did all sorts of jobs, worked in the Dominion Breweries let me work in their warehouse in Auckland. If you had a gig and couldn't do it, they didn't mind. They'd say just come in when you can. So they were really good. They supported me like that. And so I just went on and on and on like that. And I had a lot of fun. Money. Got to the stage where I remember once, after paying the band and everything like that, I had $1,000. I remember saying to my mum, look, I made $1,000 last week. She said, nah, you got it wrong. Go and add up subs again, you've done it wrong. She couldn't believe it, you know, that you could make $1,000 a week. And then finally we come to in the 80s and everything, we were getting probably more money than anybody, groups around. We were $3.5 grand a night, which was big money. And we had all the work in the world. So we did very well. And as time got on, we earned more. You know, it's a hard thing to survive, especially when you've got a band and crew working with you. You've got to distribute the money in that fair way. Well, you all combine together on stage to make it work, so you can't underpay musicians. I don't believe in underpay. I'd rather come out with nothing and have the guys happy with something than come out, you know. I mean, many times we didn't make money on some gigs, but you know, you won on some, you won, lost on some. Well, I met Tree. I was playing in Gisborne at the Sandown Park, and I went to have dinner by myself and the lounge bars, the band and everything, and earlier I was a guest artist. So I'm having dinner and the maitre d' comes across this high and everything, chat away. And I said, hey, can I get that waitress to serve me over there? And Trudy was a waitress. And he said, no, you're here, you have a different waitress. I said, well, can I change tables? You know? So eventually, Trudy wasn't interested in me at all. Not interested by the slightest. So I thought, what can I do? So I got the cook of the hotel to say, look, after my show, I'm going to shut the waitresses some champagne, you know, cold duck probably. And so afterwards, we did come back to the kitchen and the waitresses were there and shouted a few drinks. And the girl started hitting on me. And she said, oh, do you want to come to a party? And I wasn't really interested. And I said, look, I'll come to the party if you can get that waitress to come with us, you know. And this girl went away, spoke to Trudy, come in. And I thought she'd say no, but she said, yes, you come. So I went to the party. I tried chatting her up all night. We went back to the hotel. I tried chatting her up, and there was nothing happening. So I decided to take her home. I grabbed the manager's car, took her home, and it was like daylight. And I didn't want my tour manager to know that I'd been up all night. He'd be angry with me, you know. And so as I pulled back in front of the motel in his car, hopped out of the car, he knew I'd borrowed it, and he said, oh, you going to get up for breakfast? And I said, yeah. So we went and had breakfast with him. I didn't sleep all the time. So, you know, you'd be angry, you know, because your performance would suffer. And then next time I went back to Gisborne, I asked around for Trudy, and they said, oh no, she's her and her girlfriend went to Australia. And I thought, oh, that's history. So about a year or so later, be over a year, wouldn't it? And I was down in Christchurch, playing at the Aranui Hotel. We've got a band, and it must have been 1974, so 75. Richie Pickett was on keyboards, and we were playing away, and the crowd's full. And there's one girl out in the audience going. So we were saying, hey, she's talking to me. And the drummer's like, no, she's talking to me. And no, she's talking to me. Well, we knew she was talking to Richie Pickett. And so after the show, we sort of, things wound down, the night wound down, we went to the house bar for a drink. And here's Richie with this chick he'd met. And this chick's friend was standing there, and she had a big fur coat on, her hair was all fuzzy and everything. And I didn't, and I sort of looked at Trudy a couple of times, said hello and that sort of stuff. And then I said, you be from Gisborne? She said, yeah. And I said, name's Trudy. And she said, yeah. And that's how we met up again. So eventually we got married. We were touring all the time. And so we got married and just kept touring. And Trudy was working for us. She was looking after the money side of things, you know, the door and all that sort of shit. And we just went on and on and on, playing 6-7 nights a week, week after week after week after week. And you didn't want a holiday because you were going to different places all the time. You didn't need a holiday. You're having fun. And it was like going to a party every night, and it was a real good party. But if I didn't go, it didn't happen. So you got all this good feeling, you know. Then you go to a party, everyone want to have a party with you, and that's what you did. You just partied. and it was a great job. It was fantastic. Trudy used to come around until the kids come along, and even when the kids would come along, she'd come along, you know, put the bassinet under the dressing room counter or something, you know, out the back of the stage and carry on. We had a great time, great fun.
And yeah, you've gone on to have grandchildren?
Yeah, now with grandchildren, it's good to, the grandchildren, they like music. Their little Manu, our one of he gets up and boogies around, he'll just stand up and boogie his way across the lounge or something. And we haven't spent a lot of time with them, we see a lot of them and it's good. I first got into the Variety Club, the children's charity. There was a story in the paper that they were going to open one in New Zealand, so I went along to the conception, the first sort of meeting at the Auckland City Council, and they formed the club there, and so I volunteered to come on board, and I did their first opening night with my band, and went on the road touring with them around New Zealand, raising money for children's charities and helping underprivileged and disadvantaged kids. And that was really so rewarding, because you see smiles on these kids' faces that never smiled for years. It's just fantastic. And so I went on the tour as a celebrity, which meant you could travel with anyone in any vehicle around the country at any time. And I found a happy place with the Fishpot Cafe team, bunch of guys that right into fundraising money, and I've been fundraising with them for over 30 years now, well over 30 years. And once a week, one week a year, we go away, and we're currently travelling on a big 19-metre Los Angeles fire truck. It was fantastic. We've been right around New Zealand. I mean, everywhere, Banks Peninsula, everywhere a caravan can't go, we can go. And it's a lot of fun, because you're sort of doing good for the community, and you're right there, you feel it, and you know it's working. One great memory was we used to have this put in wheelchair swings for people in wheelchairs. I forget what we call them now, freedom swings, I think. And we put them in, and I remember putting one in the Dunedin Gardens, and we went along there for the opening, and there's all these bashes. There's about 200 or 300 of us there, and they put this handicapped person in a wheelchair onto the swing and pushed her back this girl. And the first time she came forward, she sort of had a very concerned look on her face, you know, and the next time was just sort of, but the third swing, when she came forward, she had this smile across her face. It was just so overpowering. I turned around and realised that everyone was turning around looking at the other, because, you know, it was just brought tears to your eyes, just to see the joy in this young girl's face. And we'd do various things, take people for rides on the fire truck, and other swing incidents and things like that, where you just give so much joy away. It was just heartwarming. You just felt really good about being out there doing it, you know. And we had a sound system on the fire truck. We do concert, and you and Gilmore and I used to do concerts way out in the country, and have hundreds of people turn up, and they're just no advertising, just local pub at Te Kaha or something like that, and they'd all turn up, everyone turn up, we do a free little concert and move on, be gone. So it was a lot of fun doing that, getting involved with Variety, because they did a lot of good. They still do a lot of good. I'm not with them now, we're doing it independently now, purely because the time they operate doesn't suit us. Through business guys away overseas, it's that sort of thing. So, but it's still, it got me into a lot of charity work. I've done a lot of charity work over the years, because I always felt I was never handicapped, although I was classified as a handicap, but I never was. And I always took that on board. And I remember hearing an interview with Stevie Wonder years ago. They said to him, "How has your handicap affected your music?" And he said, "What handicap?" And they said, "Well, being blind." He said, "Well, it's not a handicap." He said, "It's only a handicap if I let it become one." And the pennies dropped, and I realised that was what my parents had been taught me, but not in those words or anything. But that's what they taught me. That sort of, so that helped me a lot through life, and being able to give back to people is your reward. And also I got involved with, as an amputee, I got involved with the Crippled Children's Society, used to be called, and I used to visit hospitals. People that would lose legs, get a call from the hospital saying we've got someone in here with lost a limb and they've don't know what to do, you know, and I'd go along and visit them and just say hi and chat away and tell them what I do, things like that, and it just helps them realise that, hey, it's not the end of the world if you lose a leg or something, you know. One particular case down in Eden where I got a call from a nurse and she said, down, we've got this young chap, he was in his early 20s I think, he'd had a motorcycle accident and lost his leg and he's in the hospital. Doesn't want to see his fiancée anymore, doesn't want to see anyone. And he was in the New Zealand rowing squad. And he thought the whole world's come to an end, you know. And this nurse said, well, would you come and visit him? I said, yeah. So I go in a pair of shorts into the hospital, you know, and I sort of sit there and chat away. And I said, oh, give us a look at your stump, you know. And he says, oh, and he was too shy. You know, I said, oh, well, here, I took my leg off, showed him my stump and everything. And then he showed me his and we sort of got talking away, and after I'd left him, the nurse pulled me aside and said, oh look, can we bring him down to the hotel and see your show on Saturday afternoon? I said, yeah. And she said, well look, I'm not going to tell his parents about you at all, so I won't tell them till later on. So we're doing the show that afternoon, and sure enough, they brought him in a wheelchair at the back of the room, and the nurse was in civvies, and the parents were there. And I just distinctly remember, it just locked in my brain, at the moment of time when the nurse leant over and pointed to me and sort of said something to the parents, and their mouth jaws dropped like this, because I was jumping up on the piano and I was going over the top of it, you know, and she told them that, oh, he's got one leg off, everything, and it was just, it was like a light for me, and out there in the darkness, you know, just this moment, and so. The next time I went back to Dunedin, 6 months later, after the show I'm in the house bar and he comes in with his fiancée on his arm and his artificial leg, proud as punch, trying to settle over. It was great. And I'd done those sort of things, you know, whenever I could, help other people like that. It was good fun. With the Amputees Association, I joined the Auckland and Northland Amputees Association, and I was there for a few years and helped them retain our facilities in Auckland. The Limb Centre in Auckland is fantastic, but an Australian outfit tried to move in and do it too. We sort of fought the government against that, and I remember heading a protest up Queen Street with a megaphone. You know, not like me to do that, but we saw the amputees because, you know, people can live a pretty normal life, really. It was way back in the early days that I got involved with the VAC, just as a member, and I used to go along to various places where they had their meetings, and a good lot of people, and was always entertaining and always learning stuff from people, and great people. We're all of the same sort of family in a way, and so I just kept going as much as I could. And when I was away touring a lot for a few years, I didn't get to go there often, but I kept going as much as I can, because that's where you learn about your trade from people that do the same. They've eaten the same shit you got to eat, you know, and they can help. And I think that's one of the main reasons, the friendship amongst the VAC people is great. And, so when you meet great famous people like Chuck Berry, you have a familiarity with each other because you've grown up eating the same shit, you know, and you've died and you've won nights and you've bombed nights, you've gone through the whole mill. And even though Chuck's world famous and I'm just world famous in Mount Wellington, you've done the same journey, you know, and you have a level of fame that goes with it. There's super worldwide fame, or there's a small amount of fame. I didn't do it for the fame thing. I found the fame thing was a bit, it was always fun when people recognised you, or said in restaurants, you know, you don't have to pay for your meal, you know, this sort of thing. And you get spoiled lots of times. And that was the best part of fame, but not having that privacy sometimes got a bit irritating. You know, you'd have to do your hair before you went to the local shop. Otherwise they were saying, oh yeah, Tom Sharplin comes and he's a scruff. You know, the little things like that used to play up. So I liked being nobody off stage if you can, as much as you can. I don't remember who nominated me to become president of the VAC, but I was very honoured to take it on, and enjoyed being president for the last quite a few years. It's a great lot of people, and we look after each other, we support each other, and we look to cultivate younger talent and help young talent get on their legs and help them, give them performance experience in a nice friendly platform. And it's all showbiz. You meet up with a lot of your old friends through the years. Yeah, it is an entertainers club. All sorts, from dancers, belly dancers, magicians, singers, all sorts. And if you can entertain your variety, well, you're welcome to come along and join. And it's a lot of fun. So the Variety Artists Club, I was president for about 10 years, and then with travelling and a lot of that going on, I missed out I left that for a little break, had a break, and then they asked me if I'd come back to be president again, and I agreed to do that, and it's been about 10 years now, so it's coming up 20 years as president, and I feel honoured because it's just like a big family. It is really just like a big family. We all lean and help each other and everything, so I think I'll be a long member of the VAC until I drop. And things change, you know, it's over the years, and my wife's had health problems, and so I've been looking after her a lot. The real crunch, we had lots of work on, and we still get requests to do work and everything, but climate's changed. COVID knocked the bottom of my audience was older, and when COVID came along, more than any other part of the society, the older people don't go out the same. And I don't blame them, you know, that's why I caught COVID from going to a show. So they just don't go out the same, because they're older people, they don't go out as much anyway. So we found a lot of the audiences sort of, well, didn't dry out, but they were thin. You know, when we were on the road making it, there wasn't a lot of other entertainment. There was 2 channels on TV. And no cell phones, so it's a whole thing's changed today. In entertainment, you've got the best of entertainment in your pocket, best of the world's entertainment in your pocket. So it does change things a lot, but there'll always be a place for live music and live performance, because that's where the magic happens, live. So yeah, I haven't done a gig for a good 6 months, but I really want to. I've really got to get back into it. It's just hard getting good musicians nowadays. Some of my good friends, band members, have dropped off, and they've either passed away or given up. And that's a whole new ball game now, really. I wouldn't try to break into it again or anything. Get a real job. No, for my grandkids wanted to become entertainers or anything like that, I think the first thing I'd do is say get a real job. But if they had the talent and the enthusiasm to want to do it, and I'd encourage them to follow the dream, because it is a dream and you've got to just follow it. And if you can do what you really love and make a living out of it through your life, that's the best thing. You know, it's like you don't worry. Going to work's a great day. You wake up in the morning, you've got to go to work today. That's a good day. It's not a lot of people think, I've got to go to work, you know, but, well, we've got to go to work. That's great. And if you don't go to work, that's not such a good day. So it's a whole different thing, and it's a great lifestyle. It was a great lifestyle. I met lots of friendly people and had a lot of fun. All good, clean fun, you know. You know, the way I'd like to finish off my life is just being happy and carrying on being happy. Interacting with people, singing. It's just, and I look back and reflect on things, but I don't live in the past. You know, that was all done, it was great. We had more fun than we deserved to have. And so the future is just, the grandkids probably are the most valuable thing in our lives. And we have good access to them and share our life with them. And really, can't ask for much better than that. I've had a great life. Never been arrested. No, it's always been pretty good, really. I did lose my son when I was 18. That was sad, and that was something you can carry for the rest of your life, but that's life. So I think after losing my son at 18, every day was a valuable day, you know. So I consider myself very, very, very lucky and have so many wonderful friends. Yeah.